and Assalamualaikum. Today we are going to present about PHY 110 Mechanics 1 Laboratory. We are from class A4 AS120 Group 5. In this group, we have 3 members. First, Siti Nur Aisyah binti Muhammad Zaini, student ID 2020478978. Second, Nur Erni Natasha binti Abdul Hadi, student ID 2020893704. Third, Nur Aisyah Zwani binti Muhammad Ghazali, student ID 2020607474. Today, we are going to present about our second experiment, and the title is Newton's Law of Motion. Firstly, the objective. First, to investigate the relationship between total force acted on an object with acceleration of the object. Second, to study the Newton's second law of motion. And the apparatus we use from PhET simulation is brick, ice, wood, ruler, small crate, and watch.
Hello everyone, my name is Nur Erni Natasha binti Abdul Hadi. So I will proceed to procedure in this experiment for non-friction surface. First, the force graph tab was proceed. The parameter setting was set as first object we use small crate. For friction we use ice, which is no friction or frictionless, and we add acceleration graph by click on acceleration. For the first data, the force applied was set to 500 Newton, and the play button was pressed to begin. The acceleration was recorded. The result was tabulated in table 1. The reset all button was clicked for second reading. The above steps was repeated at least 3 times for each data. Next, step 2 until step 7 was repeated for another 9 data. So I will show how we use force graph in this experiment. Next, we move to results. In this experiment, for non-friction surface applied that we start with 500 Newton. For friction force, of course, it will be 0 because non-friction surface, and total force in this experiment will be 500 Newton. We use acceleration in this experiment 5.00, acceleration 2 5.00, and same goes to acceleration 3 and 4. And we use next we continue with 600, 700, 800, 900, and the total force will be same with applied force. In table 2.1, experimental data for friction surface, applied force that we use for begin in this experiment is 500 Newton. Friction force that we apply in this experiment, we use -294. And total force in this experiment will be 206. For acceleration, 1, 2.06, acceleration 2, 2.06, same goes to acceleration 3 and 4. And the results in this experiment, we use same as the non-friction surface, which is applied force. We use 500, 600, 700, 800 and above.
Analysis. This is the graph for graph of total acceleration for non-friction and graph of total again acceleration for friction. Analysis number 2. From both graphs, state the relationship between the total force with the acceleration of the object. From both graphs, we determine that the total force is directly proportional with the acceleration of the object. If the force that applied to smoke rate on both surfaces, such as ice for non-friction surface and wood for friction surface, would increase, the acceleration of the smoke rate would increase by the same factor. Number 3. Does the graph obey Newton's second law of motion? Explain. Yes, related. Because based on the graph, we success to get directly proportional between the applied force and the acceleration of the smoke rate on both surfaces. Same goes like Newton's second law state that the acceleration of an object is directly related to the net force and inversely related to its mass. Acceleration of an object depends on two things, force and mass. And it is also stated that the rate of change of momentum of an object over time is directly proportional to the force applied and occur in the same direction as the applied force. Next, determine the gradient or slope of the graph. What do the gradient represent? Explain. So refer to the graph. The gradient of the graph is represented by the acceleration and force on the y-axis. So the slope will be the mass of object. The slope is the inverse of the mass if the axes are switched. For number 5, using Newton's second law of motion, prove that the coefficient of kinetic friction between the smoke rate and the wood surface is 0.3. Lastly, for the conclusion, in conclusion, during this laboratory experiment, let us observe, analyze and find out to determine the Newton's law of motion. Newton's second law provides the explanation for the behavior of objects upon which the force do not balance. The law states the unbalanced force causes object to accelerate with the acceleration that is directly proportional to the net force and inversely proportional to the mass. We also find out the PET simulator which states that the acceleration of an object is related to the force and inversely related to its mass. Acceleration of an object depends on force and mass. Thank you.